So it's been 3 years now since I started playing, practicing percussion. So here's the progress of the adult learner. Um, so when I started out 3 years ago, I was at my parents' house. I was listening to a record, an old record of my mom's. It was Milt Jackson playing vibes with the Swingle Singers and modern jazz quartet, to which he's a member of or was, and they're playing Bach's Air in G. So that was such a beautiful way he played it. Also the improvisation that he did. Anyways, that inspired me. So I tried to learn it just by ear, but I couldn't do it. So then I got started getting music books, and even though my reading was terrible, I used them, and I basically memorized pieces to learn them. And I don't think I'll ever be able to sight read, but so what I would say is that reading is one of my weaknesses. I mean, I think every adult learner is probably in a different space. They might have, played an instrument in their childhood, or they might have some kind of training. Everybody's going to be different, and my weakness is definitely reading music, uh, but I can do it. So I've just kind of kept at it, and I think my strength is that I have a background in percussion. Um, so yeah, playing Bach's Air and G is was a little bit too difficult uh, when I started practicing. So I went on to other things, and now I come back to it, and I'm trying to play it on the marimba. It's got some beautiful bass. Well, it's got beautiful bass notes in it. It's got a beautiful low B. Ooh, that E. I don't know about that E. Anyway, it's got all these low notes in it, which is just perfect for that marimba. But um, the instrument that I really decided to zero in on is the um, vibraphone. And what I would say about for adult learners, don't 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 try to play the vibraphone. Don't adopt the vibraphone, because it's impossible to learn how to play it. There's so many things that you need to know that um, uh, and a lot of it when you're playing, you just like, for instance, trying to read the music while you're playing. You can't. You want to be able to see where where you're placing the sticks, but at the same time, let's say you're using the entire keyboard, you can't see both sides at the same time. So you have to trust where your arm is, and the other thing is you gotta, you know, you're playing, you're using what's called a sustain pedal, which means um, that means you basically have to stay in one place a lot, and you can't shift that much when you're playing this, because you're one of your feet is sort of on the pedal, and so you can switch it. It has kind of a swing to it, but you can't go very too far. So it's really wild when you're playing spanning big notes like this. it's just I'm having hard time learning. So I decided to concentrate on one song, which is a difficult song. It's Pink Panther, and it's a wonderful song. But there's a lot of two note chords that you're spanning almost the entire keyboard, and that's really I find that's really difficult to do it without making mistakes. Way difficult. Um, but I decided, like I spent 6 months on this song, on this, yeah, particular song. It's so good. And I think I've learned a lot from doing that. A lot about harmony, a lot about the feel for the notes and everything. What was I saying? How the vibraphone is impossible to learn because there's so many things that you have to do unconsciously while you're playing it because there's only a little tiny bit that you're conscious of. What's the next note, etc., or whatever. But all the things like the way how much you're going to sustain the note for where you're standing, um, and even I just find playing two notes at a time is challenging. So that's been my thing for. Um, so I wanted to reiterate that for me, my goals are to play music and have fun doing it, and then more long-term goal, which is included, and that is to be able to play a gig with other musicians and to be able to improvise. So those are long-term goals. It's going to take me years to be able to do that. And I have found that over time, over this 3 years, I'm just starting to be able to do a little tiny bit of improvisation. So that's really kind of um, a good thing for me because I've always wanted to be able to do it, but it kind of has to be spontaneous. Like, it can't be forced, and it really isn't that hard. But if you're not used to it, the other thing is basically to improvise. You need to have a repertoire of a lot of different songs, so different chord changes and things like that. If you don't have that, and I don't have that, so the main thing is to learn the songs. So I'm making slow progress there. This is what I would recommend. If you have a book like this, like the first 50 songs, you should play on the vibraphone. And I'm not recommending learning the vibraphone, believe me. I love the instrument, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's so difficult to learn. So I'm just going through that. The Pink Panther is just really a great learning experience for me. I've learned a lot from playing that. I need my glasses to see what I'm doing here. Okay, and so there's decisions you have to make as an adult learner, like getting a teacher. That's probably one of the best decisions, but sometimes one is not living in an area where you can find a teacher, especially for another reason not to try to learn the vibraphone, because where are you going to find a teacher? I guess there are some teachers online, but I haven't gone there yet. That might be a good thing. Anyways, because the problem with the vibraphone, if you don't learn how to stand the right way from the very beginning, it just totally wrecks the way you play. So you need to stand properly. And I don't even know if I'm standing properly. If I had a teacher, they could say, "Oh yeah, you should always put your foot here," or whatever. So I'm just kind of winging it and hoping. for the best, but that can completely hamper your learning if you don't have basics like how to stand. It's not so. It's a lot easier on the marimba because you can shift back, kind of. You can shift around. You don't have a pedal to worry about. Um, so find a teacher. Which instrument? Don't don't pick the vibraphone. Um, uh, right. Well, and just the other thing I would say is try to find inspiration in the past, in what the kind of music you like, the instrument you liked when you were young, because that's why I'm playing the vibraphone because I used to listen to my mom's record, which is this one here. It's right here. I got it. Modern Jazz Quartets, Swingle Singers. Air for G String by Bach. Okay? So that's, I mean, there's something really magical about that song. I should play it actually on this video just to show, but I'm not going to because that's like another challenge is getting my record player going. And I don't want to do that right now. Anyway, that's my progress. And yeah, well, the other thing I would say is that I put a lot into Christmas, doing a number of learning a number of Christmas songs on the xylophone and on the steel drums, and that was super challenging to do the steel drums. There's a lot of, you know, the steel drums is kind of the variety of instruments I have here: steel drums, marimba, xylophone, vibraphone, glockenspiel, drum set. It might sort of put people off, like just concentrate on one instrument. Don't. But in a way, they play off each other, right? It's nice to have the variety. It kind of distracts you sometimes, but you can concentrate on one instrument, like I do. But at the same time, if you play the other ones, what you learn on one can sometimes help you with what you're doing on the other. So I do find that my drumming, I'm more melodic than I used to be, and I also find that my drumming helps with fast triplets and things like that on the keyboard instruments. So that's my report for 2024.